You know what? You know what though? I did miss seeing you, Glenn. I have to say, but you know who's just a hell of a quality human being is that Joe DeFalco. What a nice man.
Joey DeFalco too, his son.
Oh, the son.
The son is tremendous. I love his son. We may hire him.
The kid's a prick. Okay, like that. Yeah. Well, he's like listen to this. Okay, I obviously
kind of won you over, Cyrus. But go ahead.
Well, no, he was like,
I like him.
He would always put on all the posters. He would do all the graphics for all the shows, the FSW shows. For some reason, he refused to put me on there to advertise for the shows. I have no idea. You know,
I think I know the reason.
What would that be?
Are you familiar with the term? You couldn't draw money if you walked through Fort Knox with a magnet up your ass. Have you heard that one before?
No, but Pez Watley did tell me one time that I couldn't draw flies in the middle of in the Arizona desert in the middle of July with a bucket of shit.
No.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Going forward, like I mean, there's a chance for you to make. You know, I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of the wrestlers in Impact like to hear this. And sometimes you have a chance to either endorse or to give a vote of confidence to people by talking the show. Going forward, or lately, who have you been impressed with at Impact Wrestling? The stuff that they've been delivering for you the most.
I think the whole roster, top to bottom. I always like to see young people taking the next step and coming up. Ace Austin has really taken a lot of steps in terms of going from a guy who 22-year-old, great athlete, excellent technically in the ring, was a little bit dry when we first got him, and now he's sort of finding his groove as a character that people hate. So he's been great. Madman.
You know what's been kind of funny, that I read this thing that he is that another run-in?
Hold on, let me just get the dog for a second.
All right. So I was just saying that I had read somewhere that he trained in acting, and I was like, he's very I wouldn't say shy, but like introverted to be an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's a perfect example. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, actually, I've been impressed with his segments because I've given him a completely different character, which is actually based on me when I was 23. And he has actually delivered the lines. And so he's introverted backstage, but when you turn him loose on a promo, he delivers. So I see the acting ability there.
How did you feel about, like, you know, being a creative or being a booker? You got to get some enjoyment out of this. Perfect example, a guy like Eddie Edwards was kind of bland.
Yep.
And like you kind of saw those. Okay, what can we? That's you know that's what you don't see in like places like WWE. It's like if you see a guy with faults, they kind of just give up on him. But if you see a guy that's got faults, it's like what it's like a challenge. What can we do to get this guy like make him interesting, give him a character? You know? And I mean, like, who are some of the guys that you felt like pretty good fulfillment out of doing that with lately?
I think Ace Austin, because I think he's going to be one of the biggest stars in the business in the next year. I think Jake Christ, who went from being kind of a background piece to Sami Callihan to now becoming the golden draw and the X Division champion. I think he's another one. I think if you look at, you know, some of the characters, I mean, even with the work we did with Johnny Impact, I mean, I think I work with him very closely along with the creative team, and he went a long way in terms of being a compelling heel character. You know, Michael Elgin, who came from Japan, who was always a great wrestler, but we've given him this you know, ambulance thing where he sends people to the hospital, and he's just this old school, nasty, doesn't back down heel, kind of like a Dick the Bruiser in a modern context.
Kind of like like an old right? Yeah,
and it's like that's the fun part. Like, you know, you could take a guy like you know, give me Conan in his prime, great. We'll put him on there, we'll book him the right way, but he already knows how to get over. He's already a character, right? Where the real secret sauce is, and this is the part that I get off on, is you take that Ace Austin, who for a couple of months I looked at and went, I don't see it. It's just another guy that's doing moves. I don't care about that. That doesn't draw money. And then a light went on one day, and I went, I know what I want to do with this kid. And we've been working with him, and he's now this terrible heel character who's trying to have sex with Eddie Edwards' wife to get in Eddie Edwards' head.
And that's a great part, Cyrus, because when you're working with these people, and especially if they're buying into what you're saying, and they're not always questioning and second guessing, and they're just letting you, you know, guide them, right? Then the beautiful part is when they start owning the character, now they start giving you ideas, and now you're meshing it together, you know, and that's really cool.
And Conan, I always said this, like, the way this business should work. Because when I was a talent, I thought 24/7 about stuff for me to get me over, because that's your job as a talent. I've always said, take Eddie Graham, take Vince McMahon, Paul Heyman, Don Callis, the Mount Rushmore of bookers, if you will, and we should never be able to come up with as good a stuff for you as you could come up with you, because we got to think about 40, 60, 80 people. You got to think about you. So the talent needs to be thinking about getting themselves over. The problem is, Glenn, and you would probably agree, the art of getting oneself over is being lost more and more. People think getting over means doing moves and this is awesome. And that's not what it is, as we know.
Well, you just got, but this is the problem. So you got guys, the culture of indie wrestling is you show up at an arena, you go out and try to have the best match each night, which you're probably doing things you're probably not having the best match, but you think you're doing the things are. But nobody's learned how to do TV. TV is, a 1.5 minute vignette in the back. TV is an in-ring 5-minute interview. TV, and like you find out some guys like the people like it's like you're teaching 12th grade, and you find out like you've been given a class like these are all 12th grade athletes, and they read at a 5th grade level. It's like, so we kind of like, well, boy, we got to get these guys up to speed with what it takes to be a TV star, which does not mean just go out and have a great match. You got to get people to tune in to watch your match. And like once wrestlers realize that, they become interested in it. They become interested in angles and ideas for themselves. But right now, it's like you just see a culture of a bunch of raw green guys that just, you give them 7 minutes and they're like, Jesus, well, I'm used to going 15. It's like, well, bro, this is TV. You got to figure out how to do 7 minutes and get you and the other guy and do 7 minutes. For that.
I haven't really seen this happen at Impact, but I know, it used to happen to us in WCW a lot, and I know for sure you saw it in WWE, Don. How many times were you ready to go to a match, and they were like, yeah, your match has been reduced by 3 minutes, and you're looking at the other guy like, okay, so what do we take out? What do we, you know what I'm saying? And it's literally before you go on live TV. So you got to be thinking on your feet. And let me just say one last thing, and that's one of the problems because, and I'm not saying one way is better than the other, but I'm going to show you how the modern style right now has hurt the wrestler in general. They're so busy trying to remember everything that's in the match, they forget all the little nuances like working the crowd,
So two things I would say. One is when they would tell me my time is reduced, I would just eat the guy up and not give him anything. But I was a badass. I like that.